Hey guys, this is the 8th video in the Man of Darkness Beginning to End series. The links to the previous 7 as well as to the playlist are in the description down below, and a link to the playlist should pop up in the upper right hand corner of this video for you. This is what I'll go ahead and call video 8.1. It covers the first part of the formatting process for turning Man of Darkness into a paperback. There will be at least a part 2, if not a part 3, otherwise this video would have just been way too long. This video, part 8.1, covers picking a cover size and your trim size. It'll show you where you can find KDP paperback manuscript templates if you'd like to use them, and it'll show you how to make your own from scratch. It'll walk through creating separate sections in your book, adding page numbers, adding your name and title to the headers on alternating pages, and it'll show you the basic order of things I add to the beginning of my books, like a title page, a copyright page, etc. It'll also show you how to format your margins, the gutter of your book, and the indents of your paragraphs. Part 2 will cover the more design-related choices I make in my books, sort of like the way that I add images to my chapter titles, but this one hits on a lot of the basics for you. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll go ahead and hand it over to past Courtney.
Alrighty, so not counting any extra pages that would go at the beginning or the end or anything that would be done for chapter headers, Man of Darkness is currently around 152 pages on Microsoft Word, and again, that's without any of the extra pages. And I went and checked my books. I'm going to lift you up for a second. Ashes in the Light, the normal font version, not the large font, is 276 pages, and Cut to the Kill is 249. Cut to the Kill has more words, but Ashes in the Light had more page breaks and more part headers and chapter headers, and it took up more room. So that one's a bigger book, but Cut to the Kill is a longer book, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the other page count options or page size options through Amazon and see what other ones they have as the most popular, because I don't want a really weird font or book size or anything. But I still want it to, I think I want it to be a slightly smaller size when it comes to the size of the actual book, and then the large font version would be bigger. I just think that makes sense to me because it's a novella. I want it to be a different size than my novels, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and look at those and we'll see what they look like, and we'll go from there. Alright, so as far as I can tell, 5.8, which is what Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light are printed on, is the smallest size that KDP offers, which really sucks, because this is the kind of size I was imagining for Man of Darkness, and I'll show you the difference. So on the sides you can see a difference here, and there's a little bit of difference here at the top. This book here is around 7.5 inches in height and about 4.12-ish, give or take, wide. So I think that would be a gorgeous size, but I'm looking at the print options on KDP, which is just on their help page, and it looks like 5.8 is the smallest you can do. Which, if I had been prepared at the beginning of the year, I would have made Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light bigger, so that way Man of Darkness could be smaller. And I would have gone with, like, I don't know. I would have done something. But I can do 5.06 by 7.81, and then it would be slightly wider, but it would be slightly shorter. So maybe we'll do that and see what that looks like, and we'll go from there. So I need to go ahead and look at the trim size requirements, but I'll go ahead and show that to you. I think I have a screen recorder that will hopefully work, so we'll test that out and go from there. Alright, so I changed just the page size on Word before I got around to the trim thing, because I just wanted to see if it was worth it before I showed you anything. And it didn't change the page count. I wasn't expecting it to. At least I don't think it did, right? No, it did. It bumped it up by a couple pages. So it went from 156 to 160. So that might be worth it. The problem is, like with this, so the spine design on Cut to the Kill is like this, and Ashes in the Light is pretty much the same, except for there's a ghost here, and these might be switched. I'm not 100% sure, I just know there's a ghost up here. But with Man of Darkness, it's part of what might eventually be a series, but it's not, well, not like a series, but like books in the same character realm. They're all in the same universe, so I can't say that, but they'd be featuring the same characters, that kind of thing. And I have a really cool design idea for what I would want to do down here, or potentially up here, depending, but I think I would like it down here. But I can't do it if the spine is too small, so I want the spine to be as big as I can get it without padding my book, because there are people who will really up the font size, or they'll do weird things with the spacing just to get more pages, but I want my book to be formatted like a book, so I'm not doing that. But even those extra 4 pages, and again, it's not formatted yet, it's just sitting here waiting. Even the extra 4 pages that it gave me just by changing that number might make it worth it. So I'm going to bring up the screen recorder, hopefully it works, and we'll do a little bit of formatting tonight, and show you guys some of the stuff there, and we'll go from there.
Alrighty, so I'm over here on KDP to show you a couple things. So I'm going to go to the help button up here at the top to get to a few resources that might be helpful for you if you're using KDP, if it's the first time you're using it, so on and so forth. So the first one I'm going to go to, primarily for people who are new, to give you a place to look at, I'm going to click on Paperback Manuscript Templates. Full disclosure, I have never in my life used one of the Paperback Manuscript templates. By the time I had to switch over to KDP, I had already been using CreateSpace for 9 books, I think, give or take. So I already had the formatting thing down pretty well, and then since then with Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light, I've evolved even further with my abilities to format and what I can do with like the chapter headers and stuff like that. Sometime I'll have to show you guys how drastically my abilities changed there. So on this page there's a video on the templates for paperback formatting. You can choose what kind of template you want, and then it will show you what trim sizes you need if you do a book without bleed or one with bleed. If you use a lot of photos, I believe you do it with bleed, and if you don't, you just use the normal without bleed, I think. And then all that stuff is here, but again, I've never used it. The next thing I'm going to click on, however, is trim size options. Okay, so that is pretty much, yeah, this is the one I was on earlier. So this here is the one I have decided on for the main book. So I'm going to go ahead and write that one down, so that way I have it. I'm just going to put normal font here on my notebook, where all of my other notes are. And then the one that I do for the large font normally is this one, I think. But I'm going to do this one. Whether that's the same or not, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure for Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light, I did the 6.141. So I'm going to write that one down as well. And then these are how many pages you can print in each one. I obviously don't have to worry about this right now, but I'm going to click on trim size eligibility requirements. This talks about what trims you can use and what pages you can use for expanded distribution. So if you're not planning on using expanded distribution, which is for like bookstores and libraries and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about checking it, but I am going to to make sure that everything works out well. So down here, it tells you which ones are eligible for expanded distribution. So, there we go. So this is the first one, and it can only be available in black ink and white paper. So I'm gonna write that down too. That's what I print all of my books in so far, by the way. I've only used black ink and white paper, but for this one I kind of want to try cream paper just once, which I can do for 6.9. So that's what we're going to try and see what it looks like. Black ink and cream paper is easier for people with low vision, like myself when I'm not wearing glasses, to be able to read. That's why they have things like night mode, and even when you can just change the saturation of your screen, that's what that's for. The saturation especially, but it's easier to read than black font on white. Like this even hurts my eyes with glasses on, but I wouldn't be able to read it at all no matter how close I was with my glasses off. I'm sitting very close to the computer right now, and if I had my glasses off, I wouldn't be able to read it. My vision is terrible even outside of that, but black ink on white paper is even harder, and on screens, of course. But that is for that one. And then we're going to look for something. I don't know how you access it when you aren't on the actual bookshelf part. So I'm going to open up my downloads here, and there's some spoilery stuff in my downloads for like my book covers and stuff. So I'll either blur the screen over that or just cut out the screen and you'll just have audio for a few seconds. Because you can't see my book covers yet because I haven't shown them to you. So, a while back when I was dealing with Cut to the Kill, I was sent an Excel sheet for KDP, and if I can find it, I would use that to find out what size of thing I need, but maybe I don't have it in my downloads anymore. I know I was pretty angry when I got that, so I might have deleted it. Let me open up my email and see if it's in there in a response somewhere, and then I will be back with you guys. Alrighty, so I did find it in my email, but the one that I have in my email is just for book covers, which I should have expected since the thing that I emailed them about was my book cover. But I did find what I was looking for, I think. I haven't clicked it yet, so I don't know. But here under Prepare, Publish, Promote, Prepare Your Book, and then under Paperbacks, you do it yourself and see our guides for formatting your manuscript and creating a cover. I'm going to click Formatting Your Manuscript and hope that it's the correct one. Alright, that took a million years to load, but here we are. This looks like it is it, thankfully. So this doesn't have anything for page size, so it looks like those should be the same per every book, I would assume. Outside margins with bleed. Okay, so I always do no bleed, so the 0.25 is what I have. On all of my books previously, and I'll move my cursor so you can look at that. On all of my books previously, as in Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light, I have the top and bottom margins, which count as part of the outside margins, as 0.25, and those are fine. But in my experience, if you leave the these ones on the sides, which this page doesn't have a gutter, but if you leave these as 0.25, it doesn't work, and it constantly claims that it's like not right. At least if you use pictures inside your book, which I do for the chapter headers. It just doesn't work, and I changed them up to 0.26 and it didn't work. I changed them to 0.27 and it didn't work, but I literally changed them to 0.28 and it worked fine and everything was fixed. So that's what I'm going to stick with, but these are a good baseline, if nothing else, and my book should still fall in this range by the end of it, so the 0.15 gutter is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to open up a new Word document and go from there. So while that's loading, another friendly reminder that this is just how I format my books. This is how I'm formatting Man of Darkness. It's not how you have to format your book. It's not how all books are formatted. It's just a general idea based upon the books that I looked at before I started formatting Ashes in the Light and Cut to the Kill. So nothing's set in stone. You can change things around. It just gives you an idea. So I'm going to go up to page layout and then go to this little button here. I don't know what version of Word this is. I think it's like 2008 or something. Just so that way you know, in case it looks different than whatever you're using. But I'm going to click this little button here on the page setup thing, which makes Word not respond. But that will allow me to change everything at once instead of having to go to the margins and the sides and all of that. And then I'll see you when Word is responding again. Alright, so I'm going to start with paper, personally, and on the width we're going to go 5.06, and on the height we're going to go 7.81. Enter. Oh no, don't do that, come back. And then on margins, we are going to go here on the top, and change that to, where are you, 0.25, bottom is 0.25, left we're going 0.28, 0.28, gutter we go 0.5, and then for the gutter you leave it positioned on the left, and then you go here and you click mirror margins, and now this part that you can see here, those are your gutters, and that allows the binding of the book basically. And make sure it says apply to whole document. When you're starting, it should say whole document. If you do it after you paste your stuff, it might just say this section, but make sure it says whole document. And then make sure your headers and footers are 0.5, just in case you add some stuff up there. I add my page numbers and my name up there, and my book title. So I'm going to press OK, and everything is formatted. So as you can see, here, this is an odd number page, and the odd numbers always have gutters on the left. So that's why it starts clear over here. And then if we open up a new page, it will be here, and the gutter is on this side, which is what this means. This whole thing over is the gutter. So I'm going to go back over here. So when I format, I have one blank page as an odd, and then I do this, and I'm just going to type. I'll format this stuff later. And then I have a title page, which I'm just going to write title page. And then I have another blank page that if everything's going well, it should be an even number, and it is. And then the acknowledgements page. I don't know how to spell acknowledgements, so we'll see. I know there's a G in there somewhere. Yeah. And copyright goes here as well, for me anyway. And then another blank page that should be an even number, and it is. And then we start with page 1. Actually, page 1 should be an odd number, so I'm going to go to Insert, Page Break. Will you break on the next page? Probably not, so there used to be a different button, I think, but that's okay. I'll do that, and then... No, I know what I'm looking for. I found it. Okay. It's been a while since I've formatted. Breaks, and then insert a section break and start the new section on the next odd numbered page. That is what we were looking for. So, yeah, this is what it did to me last time. So you see here that it still has 6 pages, but down here it claims that there are 7, and that's where I ran into a ton of issues last time. So I'm going to start a new page that's an odd number, and then here, and click that. And now this should be a new section. Yeah, section 1, section 2. The new section allows you to add page numbers and all that fun jazz. And we'll get to that. But for now, I'm just going to paste all of Man of Darkness in here. Okay, so I'll do stuff at the end later. I don't want to format that yet. So I'm going to come back up here, and over here, I'm going to unclick link to previous. You do not want it to link to the previous section. You don't want page numbers on these. And then I'm going to go to page number. For me, they go at the top of the page. You can put them wherever you want. And then I do on the right side on odd numbers. Different odd and even pages. Beautiful. And then we will put Man of Darkness here. And then on this page, we will unlink it to previous. And then page number, top of page. And then on this side, I do my name. And then I can't remember what font size I did for those in Cut to the Kill and whatnot. It looks like it might be 10 point, so we're going to test that out. That looks a little bit more reasonable, if nothing else. So I'll check I'll check Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light later, but that looks right. So this one, you can see they're both one space apart, but this one looks a little weird to me. So I'm gonna go in here and put one little space so that way they look closer to each other and how they should be. And then scroll up here, make sure you have no page numbers in section 1. Everything's going great so far, except, as you'll notice, this. So we're going to come back over here to design and page number, format, start at 1. Hooray! I'm almost out of time on this particular recording, so I'm going to save this. That's important. Remember to save. And then I'll be back in just a second. Alrighty, so I'm going to go through and separate these chapters, just so that way they're on their own pages. For me, it doesn't matter if they're on odd or even pages, if they're just chapter titles, but you can always do it so they are. You would just want to start a new section anytime that a chapter skipped a page. So like here, if you wanted all of them to start on an odd page, but this one was an odd page, you would want to start a new section and have a blank page, and then start the chapter on an odd page, and you would want that section break to have no number on it on the blank page, generally. Formatting is overall up to you in the end of things, but in general that's how it is in published novels, if they make sure that every chapter starts on an odd page. Again, it doesn't bother me if they don't, but it bothers some people. So I'm going to go through and just Control F them to find out where they are, and then I will be back with you guys in a moment. Alrighty, so I went through and separated everything, and I'll be blurring out these 2 pages so you can't read the final pages of the book. But later on I'll be adding a blank page here, a QR code for book merch. If you don't sell book merch, you don't have to do that, obviously. I sell book merch for Ashes in the Light, and I did not add that for that book because I didn't find the site for it until I published Cut to the Kill. But I'll do that later on. For now, I just want to get through this main stuff. But at the moment, we are at 233 pages. And as you could see down here, 227 is the last one that actually has text on it. The others account for these up here. So for now, I think this is probably... Oh, I know what else I can do. So I'm going to go through, Control A, just highlight everything. There's a bug on my arm. Oh my god. Okay. It was just a little gnat thing, which is much better than the spider that I thought it was. But I'm going to highlight everything here. And then we are going to make sure this is 1 point. That can't be right. That looks way too small. Are you sure that's right? I mean, I know it's not supposed to be double spaced. I'm gonna stick it with 1.5 at the moment. I guess I could zoom in more because this is way too small for what it will actually look like. So when you want to zoom in to make sure it's the right size, My other books are 1.15 spacing between, but that looked ridiculously small. Apologize for that noise. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure the page here. What size is this? 7.81. So that is... No, that's the correct size. Okay, so yeah. If that's the correct size of the book, it looks insane if it's, if it's any smaller than that, I think. Well, I think it actually... Yeah. So this looks like it's the correct size of the book. As far as I can tell. You can't see it, but I'm holding a ruler up to the screen to measure the page to see if it's the right size. And it looks like it is, but when I went to the 1.15, it looked ridiculously small. Like way too close together. And I don't know if that's just because it's on the screen or what. Anything's possible in the grand scheme of things. But I don't know. It doesn't look quite as bad here, like where there's more text. But I don't know. I'm gonna hold another book up to it. Hold on. So that looks correct. I'm gonna Control A and test out the 1.5 again. Yeah, that looks like it's too far apart. So we'll go 1.15. That looks better now. That brings us down to 147. So that does explain why it was such a huge difference there. But that actually makes our page count smaller than it used to be for some reason. I don't know. Give me a second to look up something, and then I'll be back. Alright, so as usual with anything, you find a ton of different options for everything, but I did realize that I hadn't gone through and corrected this yet, so it was still Times New Roman. I publish my books in Garamond, so that looks a little more normal now. But I don't know... It looks too far one way and not enough the other, so I'm going to customize it, I think. I need spacing. What about like 1 point? Oh, I can't write that. That sucks. I don't want spacing in between paragraphs. I mean, I kind of like the way this looks. We can always see what it looks like in print too. Go from there. I might print off a test page tomorrow or the day after and go from there. But now this is one of our next issues. The tab. I use tab when I write. Tab is a pretty big thing here, so once you're in Word you can change it. Actually I might not need to press that button. Spacing, indentation, oh, the other thing I need to do. This is super important, I only discovered it during Cut to the Kill. Highlight everything, line and page breaks, widow orphan control, sorry. You want that checked. You want all of it to stay together. Because during Cut to the Kill, when I didn't do that, these would be like completely off. So like one of these would be down here and the next page would be like up here because it wanted the paragraph to be on a separate page instead. So like here, these all line up. When I was doing Cut to the Kill, it took me forever to find, like, this one doesn't because it's just one word. But the rest of them do. So that's much nicer than it would have looked before, believe me. So the other thing would be the indentation, which I think is just tabs. Yeah, so let's go 0.25. Yep, there you go. And I never saved it the first time, which I'm just realizing now, but we're gonna go ahead and save it. Okay. So then we are going to put it in there. Bam, saved. Next step, we are going to justify. And I'll go back and fix those later. My chapter headers and whatnot. I'm going to format those so they'll be like pictures and stuff. So what they look like right now really doesn't matter. What do I have you set at? 1.5. Okay. So everything's looking normal at the moment, which is good. So now I think the only other thing I need to do is check hyphenation, because I do not think that I have that on right now. So that's under page layout, and we're going to go with automatic. And now it will highlight, or it will hyphenate the stuff down here, which allows it to justify better. So save that again. And I think everything is pretty much set in place for now. I'll add these later. I'll add them now so that way I don't forget, but they'll need to be formatted later. All I know for certain is that this one should be capitalized and centered. So should those. Okay. So, also, just so you know, because of the gutter, they'll never really look centered, but that's okay. They're centered on the available page. They're just not centered overall, because you need that gutter, but that's the best you can do. So, everything is set at the moment. I still need to do some stuff. I need to figure out what I want to do with the chapter headers and the dates, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I have some writing that I still need to do. And then I also need to go through and format the stuff at the end. And we'll get there. I just, haven't yet. But we will. And then I'll write these in later and you'll get to see that. If I end up designing these on my phone, I'll record the screen the best that I can, and you'll see videos on that too. But for right now, I am good to go. So I'm going to save it here. I'm going to get back to writing for a little bit, and I will see you guys with some more formatting stuff the next time I actually work on it. But before I leave, make sure that I save. I'll see you guys soon.